In this video, we'll overview payment processing through the customer portal in Service CEO. First, we'll cover the new settings, and then we'll log into the customer portal, add a credit card and checking and savings account, and then pay a bill directly online through the portal. In the customer portal section of the settings tab, there are now settings regarding email notifications for customers when they submit a payment online. Please note that these can be set at each business unit or at the top level. At the bottom of the customer portal settings section page, there are now an email notifications section. The return address is the email address that will send emails to your customers when they enter a credit card payment or a checking or savings account payment through the Service CEO customer portal. Below, we'll see the templates for the 4 different emails that can be sent to a user through the customer portal. The first is a successful credit card payment. This means that your customer has gone in through the portal, entered a credit card payment that was processed successfully through your payment service provider. The next is the template for when a customer enters a credit card payment that fails. The third is for when the customer enters a successful checking or savings account payment. And the fourth is for a failed checking or savings account payment. These templates are a lot like the email templates that get set up in the email customers and employees section of the settings tab. However, they cannot be modified when sent, as these are sent automatically when a customer enters a payment through the portal. To edit these notifications, simply click Edit and type whatever you'd like into the templates. Now that we've looked at the new settings, let's log out and log into our customer portal. Now that we're logged into the portal, we can see some changes. Customers now have the ability to view and add credit card accounts as well as checking and savings accounts to their account. Notice that there's no ability for a customer to delete a credit card or a checking and savings account through the customer portal. When a customer logs in and clicks on a particular credit card, at the bottom they'll see a transaction log, which will contain a record of all attempts to bill this particular card. Same applies for checking and savings accounts. Let's go back to the main My Account tab here. Not much else has changed through the portal. The request for service process is the same. Customers can still view their estimate and job history. The changes here live in the Accounting tab. Let's pay off this invoice here for $473. We'll come in and click Pay Now. This gives the customer the option to adjust the amount of the payment they'd like to make, as well as to select the payment type. Please notice that a customer is not allowed to enter a payment with the type None. They have to choose either credit card or checking and savings. When you choose a type of account, you'll see the list of all of those accounts that have already been set up for this customer. The customer has the ability to click Add Account and add in a brand new credit card, just like we've added in the other training videos here. For this example, we'll go ahead and select this card here, 9424. Once we hit Save, the system will enter a payment into the system and will actually begin the processing function. What we mean by that is that when a customer enters a credit card or a checking and savings account payment, it is automatically processed by your payment service provider here. It doesn't go into the unprocessed queue unless it bounces back on the payment. Let's enter a checking and savings account payment here and go take a look. Let's log out and log back into Service CEO. Let's go to the Accounting tab and come to our unprocessed queue here. Despite having just entered in 2 payments through the customer portal, there are no payments in the unprocessed queue from that customer. We can see this one in here earlier, as we saw in the earlier training video. The payments are not in the unprocessed queue because when a customer enters a payment through the portal, it is automatically processed by the payment service provider. The only time it will appear in your unprocessed queue is when that payment fails at the payment service provider. You can come to the transaction log here, and we can actually see here these last 2 payments that we entered for $473 on the credit card and for $120 on the checking and savings account. For those users who utilize the Service CEO integration with QuickBooks, please be sure not to send any failed payments over to your QuickBooks account, as you will then have to delete them from the QuickBooks account. Failed payments show up in the unprocessed queue as not reconciled. To remove them from the system and be sure not to send them to QuickBooks, it's as easy as clicking on the payment number, clicking delete, and then choosing yes. This concludes the training video on processing payments through the customer portal in Service CEO. Please be sure to watch the next video on the transaction log report category.